Hi there, Chris here with just a quick little video for you all. On the Warhammer Community site today, we have the Warhammer 40,000 faction focused on the Aeldari. I did a quick short on it just a few moments ago of filming this. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. Strands of Fate is the big one we're getting a look at here. Now, this is the army rule, so this pertains to the entire faction. If your army is Aeldari, at the start of the battle, make Strands of Fate roll by rolling 12d6. If you wish, you can then re-roll all these dice. If you do, roll one less d6. You can continue re-rolling all of the dice in this manner, rolling one less d6 each time you do until you are satisfied with the results, or until you have a single d6 remaining. When you are satisfied with the results, roll those remaining dice become your fate dice for the battle. These results cannot be changed or re-rolled further unless a rule specifically states otherwise. Keep your fate dice to one side. This is your fate dice pool. Before making a dice roll for a model or unit for your army with Strands of Fate ability, if you have one or more dice in your fate dice pool, you can use one of your fate dice. To do so, select one of those fate dice to substitute that die roll. The dice that is being substituted is not rolled. Instead, the value of the selected fate dice is used as if it had been rolled. This counts as an unmodified dice roll of that value for all rules purposes. Each fate dice can only be used in this way once. After using fate dice, remove it from your dice fate pool and roll all remaining dice that are a part of the dice pool, if any. You can use fate dice for any of the following types of die roll: advance, battle shock, charge, damage, hit, saving, and wound roll. So get quite a bit of flexibility there. So with 12 dice, you roll them up, and of course everybody can figure out the averages there. So you should end up with a couple sixes, at least 2 6s, right? So, if you need that for, advance roll or charge roll or wound roll, a hit roll, whatever it is, right? Even a saving throw, really. The more 6s you roll, the better. But, even rolling 1s is also really good as well because, sometimes you want to roll low for something or, what have you, right? Given that the battle shock test counts upwards, the advance roll is high rolls, charge rolls are high rolls, damage rolls are high rolls, hit rolls are high rolls, saving throws are high rolls, and wound rolls are high rolls. Yeah, you pretty much want to roll as many 6s as possible, or any 4 or betters I think would be of value. But even rolling a 1 sometimes can be handy because, I don't know, for whatever reason. It might work for your Eldar trickery. Who even knows? Unparalleled foresight. Each time an Aeldari unit from your army is selected to fight or shoot, you can re-roll 1 hit roll and you can re-roll 1 wound roll when resolving those attacks. So, detachments. Unparalleled foresight. Pretty darn handy, just for free. You can just reroll. It's a free reroll without you having to use your command points. I think that is very, very handy. We're looking at the Farseer here, and the profile looks pretty comparable. He's move 7, which is pretty good. I think a lot of the Aeldari units will be movement 7. They'll be a lot faster, I think, than human counterparts. Toughness 3 makes sense. They used to be toughness 4 all the time because, the way they would explain it in the lore, the why Farseers were a little bit tougher than everybody else was because they're slowly turning into crystal, that kind of thing. But nowadays, they're just a toughness 3, just straight up toughness 3. And I'm fine with that, as, this guy typically is not going to be on the front line and, fighting everybody. It only has a 6-up save. That's his t-shirt save. His robes, basically, how bulletproof his robe is. He's got only 4 wounds. Now, that's interesting because I kind of figured these guys would be at least a 6, maybe up to an 8, but, who knows? Leadership 6, very, very decent, respectable. Only 1 OC, that's fine, again, because, you're not counting on this guy to take objectives for you or anything like that. So, you definitely, if you have your Farseer and early in the game and you are putting him on objectives, I don't know. I think that's kind of bad strategy. Farseers typically are in the back supporting everybody else. Abilities, core, leader, faction, Strands of Fate, and branching fates. This is the psychic power once per turn. When you use a fate dice to substitute a roll made for a model or unit within 12 of the Farseer from your army, one model from your army with this ability can use it. If it does, the result of that fate dice is first changed to a 6. That is very interesting, and I think that mitigates some of that need to re-roll some of the fate dice, because as long as your Farseer is around and you're using one of these, you're going to use it, one of your fate dice, maybe you have a 1 in your pool, and you know what, you're like, I'm just going to use this die, and it automatically becomes a 6. I think that is very, very handy. These fate dice, this is a lot more, I think, useful than what it currently is as far as the codex for 9th edition. This 10th edition Eldar stuff, yeah, I think it's going to be pretty tricksy. Also, he has a Fortune, another psychic power. In your command phase, you can roll 1d6, and on a 2+, select one friendly Aeldari unit that is within 12 of this psyker until the start of your next command phase. Each time an attack targets that unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. That's very cool. It's not quite the Fortune that we recall. Fortune before was a reroll on the save, or an addition to the save. No, Jinx. What was the opposite of Jinx? Jinx was the subtract 1 from the armor. Was it Fortune? I didn't think it was Fortune. But anyway, no, I thought Fortune was the reroll. Get it? I know, I should just grab the book and just have a look. He has an invulnerable save of 4+. Ranged weapons, Eldritch Storm, which is a psychic blast, 24 inches, does d6 attacks, getting +1 per 5 of an enemy unit. Hits on a 3+, strength 6 -2, doing d3 damage. Very, very respectable. Far more effective than the previous Eldritch Storm when it was a psychic power as opposed to being a stratagem. Shuriken Pistol has a assault and pistol rule, 12 inches, 1 shot, hitting on a 2+, strength 4 -1, doing 1 damage. Pretty straightforward. I think all Shuriken Pistols are going to be pretty much like that. Singing Spear. I really enjoy Singing Spears. Oftentimes when I equip my Warlocks and Farseers, they're always with Singing Spears because I like having that ranged as well as being able to use it in melee. It is 1 attack, hitting on a 2+, strength 9, no AP, doing 3 damage straight. Used to be D3, now it is a straight 3, which is pretty handy, fairly reliable. Now you're only getting 1 attack as far as a shooting attack is concerned, but you know, that's fine. It's got a nice, good strength, no AP, but I'm sure there's probably an ability or stratagem or something like that that increases an AP of something. Singing Spirit's another psychic attack, or yeah, it's a psychic attack. Maybe psychic gives you something else benefit. I think we had a preview of psychic. Melee, you get 2 attacks with it. Weapon skill 2+, strength 3, 0 AP, doing straight up 3 damage. Pretty comparable to the Singing Spear before, although in close combat you still had a strength 9 previously, whereas now you only have a strength 3 in melee, which is kind of dog water, but you know, I mean, again, you got to take your pluses and your minuses. Again, this guy is not supposed to be in, you know, close combat too often, so he's behind. He's in the rear with the gear, as it were. The Witchblade is anti-infantry on a 2+, and it is psychic, melee, 2 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 3, 0, and only doing 2 damage. But because it has the anti-infantry, it's always wounds on a 2+ or something like that. So pretty darn interesting. Yeah, it says right there, 2+ right on the sheet. Why don't you just read the sheet, Chris? Very respectable. I think this is fine for a Farseer. Being a toughness 3, not a big deal. Only having the 6+ normal save is kind of annoying because, well, I mean, he has a normal save. You can add to that, I suppose, but they have the invulnerable. They've always had the invulnerable, and they've always relied on the invulnerable. So, you know, not a big deal. I was kind of hoping there'd be more psychic powers, but these two, pretty much, you know, the psychic powers that you would use anyway. That Strands of Fate one being automatically a 6, I think that is very, very cool. It's very handy, and it allows you to mitigate some of those lower rolls on the dice pool that would make you reconsider re-rolling the whole dice pool. I think that's very, very handy. Fortune, yeah, I mean, it's pretty darn good. It's pretty darn good. Subtract 1 from the wound roll. It's a character, it's infantry, it's a psyker, and it's a Farseer, and he's Aeldari. All right, so next is the Guardian Defenders. Now, this one here is pretty darn interesting. I'm curious to see how this all plays out in the future. There are movement 7. Again, I'm pretty sure all the Eldar will be movement 7 because elves are fast, and I think this is a return to those kind of days where we have that kind of distinction between elves and humans. They're not just pretty humans, they are their own thing. Toughness 3, to be expected. Save of 4+, to be expected. Only 1 wound, yep, to be expected. Leadership 6+. Now that I'm a little bit surprised by, as that is pretty darn good leadership. It's not a 5, but it's definitely not a 7. Whereas I think like the Imperial Guard, they're a 7 normally. So these guys have always been compared to Imperial Guard as far as, like troops and, being a low infantry, like low quality kind of infantry. And their OC is 2, which is pretty darn handy considering that, again, these are just toughness 3 models with only a 4-up save. But, who knows, right? The weapons platform is pretty much the same stats, just no OC ability, which makes sense. I mean, again, they've never really counted the weapon platform itself as, anything other than just kind of a marker for that whatever weapon upgrade you took, right? Then we have a look at the abilities. They have the Strands of Fate. Excellent, so they can benefit from the dice pool. Defenders of Fate. At the end of your command phase, for each objective marker you control that has 1 or more units from your army with this ability within range of it, roll 1d6 and add it to your Fate dice pool, displaying the result you just rolled. I think that is very, very cool. And in fact, that makes you want to get your Guardians on objectives, because if you rely heavily on your dice pool, and it seems like rolling 12 dice, it sounds like a lot, but that's supposed to last you the battle. And if you roll really well, you're going to burn through that pretty darn fast. So having lots of Guardian defenders allows you to replenish that pool, and having it offset with the Farseer allowing you to change rolls. Oh man, again, I'm getting very, very excited for this because I'm a big Aeldari player. I love my Eldar, and yeah, this is excellent. And yeah, I think this is the kind of thing that is going to make a lot of Eldar players take Guardians more often, which is why I've been stocking up on these new models. I love the sculpts of the new models, and this is why. I think when they were designing them and they were, getting ready to writing the 10th edition rules, yeah, I think this was the kind of thing they're like, yeah, you know what, we need more Eldar players to take more Guardians because, they're just too darn good. I mean, unless Aspect Warriors are going to have equally awesome abilities, Guardians, I think, are going to be a winner, I'm suspecting. That's just speculation, of course. Crude platform. When the last Guardian Defender model in this unit is destroyed, any remaining heavy weapon platform models in this unit are also destroyed. Okay, yeah, makes sense, right? Whenever you down to your last model. Before, it used to be 2 Guardians had to be allocated to be your heavy weapon team, and if those models went out, the heavy weapon went out, right? Whereas by this, it sounds like you are just, every Guardian in there can man that weapon, and yeah, so until the last Guardian's killed, that weapon is still in play. I think that's pretty darn cool, as opposed to before when it was assigned to a particular 2 Guardians. So now you can just, yeah, you know what? Oh, everybody knows how to use it. Everybody's got the little doodad to control it, right? So yeah, I like it. I'm fine with that. I think that's pretty good. And again, it simplifies it. It makes it straightforward, and it doesn't, whenever any of you Eldar players have been, taking massive hits and you got to pull a bunch of Guardians, right? It doesn't slow down the process of you selecting which Guardians are dying. You just grab whatever, and it doesn't really matter because the heavy weapon platform is going to stay there until the last guy is murdered. For ranged weapons, we have Aeldari Missile Launcher. It has selective fire, Star Shot or Sunburst. Sunburst has blast. It's a 48-inch, which is, typical. It's only 1 attack for the Star Shot, hitting on 3+. Now, hitting on 3+ is excellent. Guardians for a long time have always been on the 4+ side of things. So now that these guys, I think in the last codex, they went to 3+, and everybody was like, wow, that's really good. And so they maintain that, and I think that's excellent. Strength 10, -2, doing d6 damage. Very respectable, kind of like a crack missile, but, not. The Sunburst is got blast, and it's d6 hits. So again, you get the benefit of the blast. Hits on a 3+. It's only a strength 4 because it's like a fragmentation. -1, doing 1 damage. Very respectable. It's designed for the crowd control, right? Bright Lance, 36 inches. It's been that for a very long time. Only 1 shot, of course, because this thing is like basically the las cannon. Hits on a 3+. It's a strength 12, -3, d6 +2. Very, very cool. Very effective weapon. You only get 1 shot, but it is hitting on a 3+, and you can always Strands of Fate that. So, again, I can see many people getting annoyed with Eldar. But again, they always should. Eldar should always been. Since Rogue Trader, this army has been annoying for especially a lot of Marine players. These people, the Eldar have always been able to deal with elite. It's when you deal with attrition. Eldar does not handle attrition very well, and that's the way it should always be. Scatter Laser, 36 inches, 6 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 5. That went down, no AP, and only doing 1 damage. It's probably a much cheaper option. This is probably just above the Shuriken Cannon as far as how often its points and how often it'll get taken. Getting 6 shots straight off the bat with strength 5 doing 1 damage. Yeah, you're cleaning up hordes and everything like that. Like if you're facing, you know, Tyranids, Orcs, Imperial Guard, that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is your crowd pleaser. Strength 5, more than enough to deal with Imperial Guard and a lot of little gaunts and things of that nature. So this is the weapon that you're going to be taking for those situations. Shuriken Cannon, sustained hits 1, shoots 24 inches, gets 3 shots, hitting on 3, strength 6, -1, doing 2 damage. Very comparable to the old rules for it. I think that is really good. Getting sustained hits, I think, is pretty darn good. The Shuriken Catapult is assault 18 inches. 18 inches, nice. That's what the Dire Avengers used to get. This Shuriken Catapult was 12 inches for a long time. Way back in the day, it used to be a 24 inch. It used to be the Aeldar's equivalent of a bolt gun. And then, of course, they nerfed it for whatever reason. And now it's back to 18. I think that is a lot better. A Shuriken Catapult being 18 inches, I can live with that. I like that. Getting 2 shots straight off the hop, hitting on 3, strength 4, -1, doing 1 damage. Very respectable. Has the assault rule, so I assume that is even if they advance, they can shoot with it. I think that's very fantastic. That's excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Star Cannon, 36 inches, 2 shots, hitting on 3+, strength 8. Interesting. -3, doing 2 damage. Going up a strength is very interesting from the previous edition. Now, I used to play Aeldari during 3rd edition. I played Aeldari since Rogue Trader, but the Star Cannon was always like the plasma cannon, and up until 3rd edition, it always mirrored that. And then it went to 3 shots, and I thought that was pretty darn cool. Bit OP back in the day, but, you know, Marines hated it, and I would game for advantage with that one. But anyway, it going up to strength 8, I think is pretty darn good. It makes it a lot more versatile. I think you're going to see Star Cannons a little bit more often. I think this one is probably closer to like the missile launcher as far as reliability and versatility, as far as, you know, taking out different things. It's got a decent range, especially on Guardians. Yeah, I think this is pretty darn good. Everything hits on 3+, and yeah. The melee weapons, they only have close combat, melee, 1 attack, hitting on 3, strength 3, no AP, doing 1 damage. Yeah, Guardians, I mean, these guys, you know, they're not your close combat fighters. They have aspect warriors and wraiths and stuff like that for dealing with, you know, close combat and everything like that. The Eldar are just for grabbing your objectives and, of course, making sure you have plenty Strands of Fate going on. I think that is pretty darn cool. Keywords: infantry, battle line, grenades, guardians, guardian defenders. And the keyword for them is Aeldari. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of this unit on the tabletop, which to be expected. And yeah, and now that I'm reading this, as I prepare for 10th edition, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to hurry up and get all my boxes assembled, because I have, I think, like 3 boxes of these guys, of the new models, on top of, I think, 40. Yeah, because I can do 2 big blobs of Guardians these days, Storm Guardians and Defenders. So yeah, I'm going to be adding quite a bit of Guardians to my force. I'm going to have a whole bunch of Guardians, and especially if the Avatar is, you know, the way he always was to be, as the central linchpin of keeping, you know, your force on the tabletop and keeping them in the game. Yeah, Farseers and Avatars. Oh yeah, not plural, but you know what I mean. Anyways, the weapon profile, we're getting a look at the Prism Cannon, Dispersed Pulse with Blast, 60 inches, 2d6 attacks, plus whatever for whatever unit you're hitting. If it's 5 or plus more models, you get an additional 1. Hits on a 3+, strength 6, -1, doing 2 damage. This is the crowd pleaser. This is for taking out stuff that's a little bit hard, right? Something that's, 3+, Space Marines, stuff like that. 2 wounds. It's going to straight up kill most Space Marines and Chaos Marines and stuff like that. Focused lances, linked fire, 60 inches, 2 shots. That's really cool. Ballistic Skill 3, strength 18, -4, 6 damage. Oof, this is pretty good. And with the linked fire ability, when selecting targets from this weapon, you can measure range and determine visibility from other friendly fire prism model that is visible to the bearer. Very, very cool. So if you want to hit just outside that 60 range, not outside the 60 range, but like, you know, within that long distance, and you combine this with the ability of fire and fade, man, this is annoying. So basically you could have 2 or 3 fire prisms hiding behind terrain features, have one of them poke out in the shooting phase, and at the end of the shooting phase, they can pop back in, and you can't take shots at the fire prisms, because typically fire prisms are not that strong. It's a Falcon chassis. It's not like it's, you know, It's not like a land raider or anything like that. Stupid land raider, stupid Marines. Anyway, Fire and Fade. Oh yeah, we were already talking about this before. It is 2 command points, but I think that this ability to move and shoot, it could be 3 command points, but I think we've, made it so that it's fairly reasonable. Anyway, when end of your shooting phase, target 1 Aeldari unit from your army. The effect, your unit can make a normal move. It cannot embark within a transport at the end of this move. Restrictions, you cannot select an aircraft unit or unit with engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. And until the end of that turn, the unit you selected is not eligible to declare a charge. So, again, first thing off the top of my head, Fire Prism. Fire Prism, you have 2 or 3 of them hiding in behind terrain features. One of them pops out in the shooting phase. They link fire, bang, pop somebody, and then you fire and fade, and nobody can see your fire prisms. Very, very annoying, I know, but that's Aeldar, man. That's Aeldar in a nutshell. And yeah, so we get also some looks of Black Library. I'm still going through these Path of the Eldar by Gav Thorpe. Really, really fun story. I've not read Ghost Warrior. It's on my list. It's on my to-do pile. But anyways, yes, so that's it. That's the quick little video of me kind of just sharing my thoughts on these this preview of the rules. This is a snippet. This is less than a snippet because the Eldar have so many rules and so many units. This is just a teaser. I think there's a lot more here that I think is going to be way more interesting. I see right here, the Avatar and all the Guardians, that's what we're gearing towards. That's the way Eldar typically play, especially when you are going for more troop heavy. And yeah, I mean, if you need to dominate the table and if you want to benefit from more Strands of Fate, yeah, you're going to be taking more Guardians. Unless, of course, there's more units that can do the Guardian thing. I mean, maybe. I would like to know what the Autarch does as, Wraith Knights. Are Wraith Knights going to be worth something? Are we going to be taking more Wraith Knights? I have no idea, but yeah. Big thank you to everybody who's listening to my thoughts on this. I know it's not terribly exciting or anything like that, but hey, just sharing my thoughts. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see how these guys perform in 10th edition, and I definitely have to get all my Guardians ready. And yeah, I got tons of stuff to get ready. I still have a bunch of Wraith to get ready. Anyway, big thank you to y'all. Feel free to give this video a like, thumbs up, comment. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think Eldar are way too overpowered? Do you think that the Eldar are going to be really stupid overpowered? People who typically judge Eldar in that fashion where, oh, this is too overpowered. This is too overpowered. Typically that comes from because they've been stung one too many times by the Eldar trickery and have not really thought of how to deal with Eldar. And it's really easy to deal with Eldar. I'm going to tell everybody right now, it's attrition. It is volley fire. It is tons of things. It's lots of mass saturated fire that takes out Eldar. And that design philosophy has been passed on from Battlefleet, Gothic, Epic, Warhammer 40,000. That's been the Eldar's weakness, is mass fire. So anybody who's facing Eldar, just take more guns, regular guns. You don't need big fancy weapons because Eldar typically have many ways to deal with elite type units and elite firepower. As there's just handout 4+ all over the place, and they're just really annoying in that fashion. But toughness 3, and guaranteed everybody's gonna be toughness 3. Everything's gonna be really weak. So I don't know why people worry, but anyway, that is it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know if you guys enjoy these kinds of videos down below, and yeah, sharing my thoughts on these kind of things. Now, I only felt compelled to do this because, well, I'm an Eldar player. I'm an avid Eldar collector. I've been collecting Eldar, since Rogue Trader, but then I sold mine, then I got back into them about 97. They've been Samhan ever since. I was Altiok before. And yeah, so that's all I got to say. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. So I will see you guys later. Take care of your brushes. They'll take care of you, and I will see you in the next, thoughts video. What is this? Is this just sharing my thoughts? Just sharing. This we're going to all hold hands and sing Kumbaya.